Hello, everybody, and welcome to another segment of Amateur Sports TV SportsCast. In the key, I think we're going to call this one today with Adam Wedlake, and it's key that we have him on today because the executive director of Basketball Manitoba has some important messages and important news. If you're outside of the Basketball Manitoba world, you've seen other sports get returned to play and their guidelines being accepted and allowed to start. Adam, we are now in that boat. We are in the accepted group. We are not outside the three. We are inside the three, inside the key. Adam, give us a little bit of a rundown on the guidelines, perhaps, of what we can expect from Basketball Manitoba.
Well, it was a good week in the last week, of course, to get back to some sense of normalcy. It's still a ways to get back to basketball like we all like to know it. But last Friday, we received the official word from the province that our return to play or return to train, really as it is, protocols were approved that we had mapped out. It took a number of weeks to get there. But we've been basically in shutdown mode since the middle of March. So it's nice to see, I guess we're at 4 months. It feels like 4 years.
Feels like 40 years to some people. I mean, you think about you can't play basketball for 4 months and it's out of your hands to do that. But now it's back.
We're back slightly. And so the key thing is basically getting back in a formal sense to some sort of training. We still have to follow, and the key piece that is probably the toughest part in many sports and activities are like this is the social distancing. That sport typically brings physically people into close proximities, and they're breathing hard and sweating, and may not be the most friendly to the health people to say that's a good step to mitigate and to stay healthy. So, but it was nice to have that option. We now can get back in the gym, and some of our clubs and leagues have already done that as soon as ready as just a few days ago. Are already back offering some summer basketball camps and training opportunities throughout the city and in Manitoba now. So a good time, but of course we're still a ways away from seeing basketball and like we normally see the 5-on-5 full court kind of games. We're probably still months away, I would guess, from seeing that come back.
So what can we expect seeing return to the gyms, returning to the playing surfaces, starting at the beginning of this month?
Yeah, July 3rd was our official start point, so we're just about a week into that right now. Some of the basics I'd mentioned, social distancing. So really, you've got to stay. We're limiting yourself a group or training group to no more than 2 players per basket. Most gymnasiums have six hoops. Some only have 2, but most have 6. So you can get as many as 12 kids into a space as under this opening phase. We're adopting the phase 2 guidelines of the Canada basketball return to play, national ones. So we jumped into phase 2 with how we were able to get this done. You can't share equipment, so things like passing, rebounding, anything that would interact, me touching the ball, then all of a sudden you touching the same ball, cannot happen. So that obviously means anything, even basics of scrimmaging or games, of course, have to be held off until things improve a bit more. And then just keeping our space and still following the obviously health guidelines of staying home when you're sick, sanitizing when you arrive on site, signing a few documents. But ultimately, it was a good step because we went from 0, actually rewinding back. In March, we went from 60 to 0, sort of overnight. And now we've gone, instead of from 0 to 60, we've gone from maybe 0 to 6 right now. So it's not a full go.
0 to 12. Let's call it 0 to 12
sure.
because you can allow 12 people on the court almost.
There you
right?
go. Very good. Very good. I like that analogy very much.
If there was ever a time, Adam, I mean, the silver lining to this, I'm thinking, is going to be the instructor to student ratio is going to be extremely awesome for these players to get some development skills and some personal, almost one-on-one coaching from some top coaches and basketball players here in the province.
Very much so, and actually, that is a silver lining, like you had said. Look, as an example, just over a year ago, we had Danny Green here from the Toronto Raptors in town, and we had a player in the Canada Games Sport for Life Center. We had 200 players in there with him at once. And the number of hoops that are in the Canada Game Center, sort of just to give a comparison to where we are, fast forward a year now, there's 14 total hoops inside the Canada Game Center, so that would be 28 kids. So basically a tenth the size
Yeah.
of what a camp like that goes to a year later definitely has some cons. Of course, we want to get as many people active and going as possible, but that one-on-one or a lot less better coach to player ratios, like you'd said there, Theo, is a lot stronger. So again, you take the silver linings where we can get them.
Absolutely. You got to look at the cup half full, the basket wide open, if you will. The layup, the backboard and layup swish is easy to do when there's only two of you on one net. We have seen also the openings are a lot more of the play structures in the playground, the old hoop style opening as well. I mean, I've seen groups of teenagers playing ball in the yard and at the concrete schoolyards. Are we seeing more in that opening with these restrictions being levied a little bit?
The main part of our return to play was more respecting indoor basketball, which is mainly where still basketball is played. Outdoor, when the playgrounds or the city and the province made allowances, this was back in May, to allow their playgrounds to reopen again. Basketball courts fell under that. They still require a social distancing aspect and only sort of playing with people sort of in your quarantine bubbles and still sanitizing, washing. They're tough to police and manage because it's open public space, but it was and still is to this day. And I drive by courts all the time and see a good number of people out, which is great to see. They're being utilized, but the return to play was more the formalized thing.
Right.
You're dealing from an outdoor experience to indoor. Now you're looking at things that you don't really even think of when you go into a rewind 4+ months ago. You don't think of things like touching door handles or water fountains or locker rooms or any little thing that you sort of just walk in and you start playing, grab a ball and go. But that's what the return to play piece that we had this time addressed. Again, dealing with the indoor space, which has a lot more variables.
Absolutely. Following the guidelines of Basketball Canada is obviously crucial, and the health organizations provincially. What's the next step to see more? Like you said, we're 0 to 12 right now. Where are we going to go from 12 to 50 or 12 to 60, Adam?
Well, it's going to take the relaxation of social distancing ultimately. And that's, again, your guess is probably as good as mine. I'm predicting that not much will change with our phase until at least the fall. The bigger questions that we'll be facing come fall time is, and we're anticipating some, when the return to school, the conversation from the province comes out about how, when, where, all that students will return at different ages and grades, and how spaces like the gymnasium will be impacted. I've already talked to a few phys ed teachers who've already been told that there's not going to be a gym class. They've already been moved back into the classroom to support in a different way as a teacher. I've also heard some schools have already been talked about using their gymnasium space as an overflow classroom, so tables and chairs being set up in that space to allow the normal the school day to have that extra space, to allow students to still return to some level of safety. So big questions like that. Will there be school basketball or any school sport? That's still up in the air of what that's going to look like, if at all. And then access to facilities, which is vital, of course. We could get away with it this time of year. It's beautiful out, and we can utilize outdoor courts just like outdoor ball fields and soccer fields and so on. But come October, or even later through until April, we're an indoor society, and so big questions still to come.
There are some gray areas that still have to be looked into, Adam, and a lot of it has to deal with restrictions and maintaining social distancing, like you said, and the guidelines that are trying to be enforced. Comment on where you see basketball and other team sports returning potentially in January, and that hope that we'll see that should the numbers stay low, and obviously having organized team sports return on a whole for mental health and health improvements for children.
It's vital. Of course, we this was last month that U Sport made the move nationally with the Canadian university sports, which is influential. They unfortunately had to pause, or I guess cancel, university football and soccer and a few other outdoor fall sports. And they pushed basketball along with volleyball and a few other sort of fall-ish winter sports to start up in January. And so we're
Right.
anticipating that may have some trickle down. The CCAA, which is the level below that at the college level in Canada, has already mimicked that. I've seen one or two leagues in the States. Ivy League, I think, was one of them yesterday, made their announcement, basically mirrored or mimicked that. So we're looking at, I guess, or anticipating that could be something that still is coming. Phase, like I said at the start, we entered phase 2 of the Canada basketball plan. Phase 3 introduces contact, not contact people in the sport world up until this all happened. Use the terms non-contact or contact sports, usually like you'd compare, like, say, a football, hockey to be a contact sport, basketball, soccer, maybe non-contact. But now we're all deemed as contact because there is that physical contact, whether it's just a brush or actual solid impact. Contact is contact. So phase 3 of the Canada basketball plans sees a return of contact, and so that will be the biggest jump. And then phases 3, 4, 5 slowly introduce using different 3-on-3, 5-on-5, small training bubbles to a larger, basically a full return to what we see as normal basketball is phase 5. So that's going to be a little bit of definitely some time still to come.
So there are bigger steps to be made. There are some limitations to be removed. New guidelines should be followed, and common sense should reign supreme. Adam Wedlake, Executive Director with Basketball Manitoba. There it is, basketballmanitoba.ca, where you will find all of the documents, all of the guidelines, all of the social distancing requirements. Any other updates that they'll find on the website there, Adam?
Well, all of the camps and programs that have been approved by us under our return guidelines are all listed as well. So if people are looking to get involved with a summer camp this in July and August, that information's all there now, and those camps started up this week, but you can still get involved. There's more and more going to be announced over the coming weeks. So our website, our social media accounts are our best place to stay in touch.
Excellent. No, great, Adam. It's great to hear from you finally. Good news around every aspect of basketball. Nice to see it returning. Check out basketballmanitoba.ca if you are one of those players that enjoyed it this year and looking to improve your personal skills. No time better than the present to get that one-on-one training. You might even see Adam in the odd brush by in the working on his layups. Who knows? I don't know if he has a basketball court in his backyard there. I'm staring at mine. It's a little bit lower than 10 feet, but that's okay because I don't have a vertical like I used to.
Helps your ego a bit too. That's good.
You know what? As always, Adam Wedlake cheering me on in the key. Maybe we'll take some free throws together when we're back together at the Sport for Life building in the near future. What do you say?
Looking forward to it.
A contest, if you will. There it is. Adam Wedlake, have a great rest of the July. We'll talk to you again in the beginning of August. Maybe we'll have some news on perhaps some different guidelines and restrictions being removed.
For sure.
Always awesome. Good talking. Thanks for joining us here on Amateur Sports TV, SportsCast in the Key with Adam Wedlake, Basketball Manitoba. Have a great rest of the day and enjoy some of that summer. Get out there and find a hoop, take a ball, take a pump. Just remember to keep your distancing there. 6 feet as always, and wash your hands. Common sense. Have a great day.